Hi, Bailey Bradshaw here. This is my prototype rising block single shot. It's a new design I've come up with, and like anything new, it's generated several questions as far as how it operates, some of the features, how well the extractor works, how easy it is to load and unload and generally operate. And I'll also go over some of the mechanical features of the lock work itself and the construction of the rifle in general. The first thing that you'll notice is it's a very small rifle compared to my hands. I have medium to large hands, so it's very easy to carry in the field. The hand easily grasps it. It balances right here where a rifle should, and weighs 6.5 pounds. Later models are probably going to be closer to 7 pounds without a scope, which is pretty appropriate for a rifle in my opinion. The action operation, you press the lever latch. As you can see, it engages here in the rear. You lower the lever and the block comes up out of the frame, as opposed to a falling block where it would descend and the barrel would be fixed to the frame itself. The whole design, when a finite engineering analysis was done, found that it would withstand pressures that were up to 3 to 4 times what most cartridges will generate. It was gauged off of the hottest 9.3 by 74 load, and would exceeded that load by, I think it was 3 times. It was right around 200,000 psi was what the engineering analysis showed that this action can withstand. Without really failing, it would still hold together at that pressure. The locking rails on the breech block travel the entire height of the action, as you can see from the bottom here. The block and this cavity are cut on a wire EDM machine to a very tight tolerance. And the block itself is actually set at a forward-leaning 2-degree angle. So as it descends back into the frame, it actually moves backwards a little bit, since it's kind of descending at a rearward angle. The barrel, as it extends out, is perpendicular, however. So as it moves back, gets into battery and makes contact with the breech face, it stops. The barrel shank in front here is also supported on the front of the frame, so it makes contact on the front of the frame. The forend, however, is only hanging on the barrel. Alignment is kept with the little dovetail that you can see that it travels on, but it's not tight. There's a little bit of a gap. There's about 2 to 3 thousandths clearance for it to slide up and down easily. So the forend doesn't apply pressure to the barrel, it just hangs on the barrel. As you can see, the extractor has a lot of travel, much more than most falling block rifles have, and works much better than most falling block rifles. It will actually eject with kind of a snappy action on the under lever. So to load, obviously you just insert the cartridge, squeeze the action closed, take off safe. You would fire. These are dummy cartridges, by the way, there's no primers. I'll lower it, and as you can see, it ejects the case. I was lucky enough to catch it. So you can get the case out, reload quite quickly. You can also, since the lever throw is very short, it's only 30 degrees, you can also reload with your forward hand and operate the rifle, the action closing, just with the rear hand. So once you open it, reach back up with your thumb, you can use your forward hand to load and unload, which sometimes, might be a little easier. Here again, it will eject the case, but you can simply, by lowering it, simply extract it as well if you're not in a hurry. Have unloading a live round, whatnot. Okay, the actual mechanism, the lock work, is very similar to a bolt action rifle in that you have an inline striker that's coil spring driven, a sear that travels up and down, so as the striker is retracted with the under lever has a large fork that as it rotates it pushes it back. The sear rises up into a notch in the striker and engages it, and then the trigger has a leg that comes back and blocks the sear from dropping. So you have perpendicular forces acting on the trigger, which allows you to set the trigger at a very comfortable pull weight on a single shot rifle of around 2 pounds. Just in the angles I can go up to 4 pounds, but I can also go down to less than a pound. You know, similar to bolt rifles, you have adjustments on those triggers. This trigger is not necessarily adjustable, but I can set those to the customer's demands. The safety on the prototype, it's a sliding safety. On subsequent models, it will be a rotating lever, but it blocks both the sear and the trigger, so it makes it very safe. And in testing the design, impacts from all different angles, dropping the action, you know, taking a rubber mallet, hitting it from different angles and whatnot, the sear never accidentally discharged. So it's a very safe safety. Obviously, you don't rely on safeties, but if you're going to have a safety, have a good one. The cocking of the action, it's very easy. Even though the coil spring is very efficient and has a lot of force, it's not difficult to cock. In fact, the action really doesn't feel any different whether it's cocked now or when you're cocking it. As you can see, it doesn't really put any more force against the under lever. Like I said, the rifle weighs about 6.5 pounds, balances very nicely, easy to operate, easy to carry, easy to load and unload quickly if you need to. The extractor has a lot of force. The front end of the lever actually has a kind of a horn, if you will, that comes back and actually impacts the extractor. Gives it a lot of advantage mechanically because you have all that force from pushing on the lever. And all this, the action's held in with a draw bolt, which makes the action bodies all one piece, which helps with the strength. There's no separate trigger plate and several other parts. And you know, if the stock shrinks a little bit, tighten down that draw bolt a little bit and suck it back up to the action. It'll help prevent cracks and whatnot from happening later on. Overall, I hope you enjoy the action. I hope you take a closer look at them, and really excited about them. It's something different, but from my perspective, it solved a lot of problems that I had with both break actions and falling block rifles. Another feature is if you have a scope mounted here, this actually gives you a little extra access to the breech, as opposed to a falling block rifle where, you know, sometimes the scope hinders that access to the breech face a little bit, especially if you have a stuck case. That can cause some issues. Hopefully not bad, because if you're going after dangerous game with a single shot, hopefully that thing works. I do build all of my rifles with Tally dovetail bases. As you can see, this one has the dovetails cut front and rear. If it has a full rib, it does, or an island rib like this one, I put Tally bases on all of them, so there's no concern about mounting a scope later on. It's very easy. And anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.